And now to the story that has captivated all of our imaginations. I know you watched it, the Artemis II mission to the moon. This is a look inside mission control this morning as the 4 astronauts are getting ready to loop around the moon. CBS Evening News anchor Tony DeCoppel watched the launch live from the Kennedy Space Center and joins us now. Tony, listen, I was watching at home on my TV and I was feeling all the feels by myself. I can't imagine what it's like to have been there in the area. Please share.
We felt it, Gail, on multiple levels. It was beautiful to see, and it was strangely emotional. Those 4 astronauts now, they are up there, and they have just woken up aboard the Orion space capsule. And you can't make history without a little inspiration, so every day they'll be waking up with music, usually a song sent to them by their loved ones. And today's song was Sleepyhead by a band called Young and Sick, a band that probably just got a little more popular today. The mission, of course, is the beginning of an ambitious project to once again land on the moon, build a base there, and maybe even land on Mars one day. And the events of the past 12 hours are just the start of that amazing mission.
Planet Earth, we've circled it completely, and we forgot how beautiful it is to look down on Earth.
It's been more than 12 hours since 4 astronauts blasted off from Kennedy Space Center.
We have good separation, good motion.
And began what is a 10-day scheduled journey around the moon and back.
4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff.
Earlier in the day, when the launch countdown finally ended,
the crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
The roar of the rocket could be heard and felt for miles, shaking our little studio here. Oh, man, it's wild. Yeah. Nearly 9 million pounds of thrust, sending those 4 astronauts into a clear blue sky at almost 5 miles a second, before pushing them into the void of space and putting our planet in the rearview mirror.
We have a beautiful moonrise. We're headed right at it.
It's NASA's first human lunar mission since 1972, and the agency hopes many more will follow.
So after a brief 54-year intermission, NASA is back in the business of sending astronauts to the moon.
Back on the ground, cheers as hundreds of thousands of awestruck spectators watched every second unfold. Many of them just across the shore from here in Titusville, Florida. Our colleague Rob Marciano was there too and spoke to the city's mayor.
It's about the future. It's about instilling these exciting values into our kids and getting them inspired to go to Mars.
That part of the mission, it seems, already a success.
I will see if a rocket launch into space because I'm so obsessed with space.
We're all that little guy right now. That is astronaut Jack. I think he'll be dressing as one for Halloween as well.
This morning, the Artemis II crew is getting closer and closer to the moon, farther and farther from Earth. The 4 astronauts are now more than halfway to the moon. They blasted off on the historic mission Wednesday. They are scheduled to fly around the moon on Monday before returning to Earth late next Friday night, and we are getting a front row seat to their mission. On Friday, they released these images of Earth and the moon from their Orion spacecraft. Mark Strassman is tracking the mission from the Johnson Space Center in Houston. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Adriana. Yeah, it's been something to watch, hasn't it? This crew is just having a remarkable run. A capsule that has aced its flight test, a moon that just keeps getting bigger ahead of them, and amazing images from space.
Planet Earth as seen by the crew of Artemis II. A first for human eyes in more than a half-century.
Trust us, you look amazing. You look beautiful, no matter where you're from or you know what you look like. We're all one people.
Houston is go for TLI.
A final engine burn Thursday evening called TLI, translunar injection, hurtled the capsule out of orbit and onto the moon.
With this burn to the moon, we do not leave Earth. We choose it.
After a 4-day trip, a moment of mission drama will come Monday night, the lunar flyby. The Orion capsule will come within roughly 4,000 miles of the moon's surface. Artemis II will have traveled farther from Earth than anyone in space history.
The lunar flyby, why does it matter? What do you hope to get out of it?
We're going back to the moon. We're going to stay there, right? And so this is the first step towards that. We'll obviously build upon that.
Anticipation's building inside the capsule.
It was really great to wake up this morning and look out the window and see the full moon off the front of the vehicle. There's no doubt where we are heading right now, and really appreciate all the work down there.
Destination ahead, that small dot to the right, drawing closer by the second.
This crew is now more than 150,000 miles from Earth. Think about that for a second. And with each passing second, they get farther away from the rest of us.
Mark,
Adriana?
It's just hard to wrap your head around it. When I left my house this morning, the moon was out. I looked up and I felt what people must have felt during the Apollo era, knowing that there were Americans, there were humans on their way to the moon at that moment. Mark, I understand you're also going to speak to the astronauts later today. What are you most excited to ask them?
Well, it's first of all, I mean, think about that. I'm going to talk to astronauts on their way to the moon. I mean, just that. I mean, we've all done Zoom interviews, but I think this will set a personal long-distance record.
Zoom interview.
So, right? Yeah. I want to hear their impressions about what has surprised them, right? What have they most been struck by since they're the first people in more than 50 years to head off into deep space, and what's it like to watch the moon get big? We think we've all seen big moons on the horizon, but not like that. So what an amazing opportunity for these folks and for the rest of us to experience it vicariously.
Yes, for all of us. It's really just, we need a little unity these days. Mark Strassman, thank you so much. I hope the delay is not too long on that interview that you do with them.
Now, an insider's look at how the Artemis II astronauts prepared to take photos of the moon during today's flyby. NASA says the crew will study the moon's surface from a unique vantage point. Chris Van Cleve went behind the scenes and got the inside scoop on the Orion mission simulator at the Johnson Space Center.
I'm here with NASA astronaut Randy Bresnik. This is one of those milestone moments people have been waiting for, the lunar flyby. What is the crew doing to get ready for this?
The crew's been waiting for this their whole lives, and humanity's been waiting for 54 years. And so they have got the vehicle in a condition where they've probably dimmed the lights inside. They've got their lunar maps out so they can make sure they're identifying the terrain features that they've been trained to do. They've got their cameras all ready to go. There's going to be video taken, there's going to be still shots taken, but it's the things that they see and choose to shoot with their camera. Those are the things that will be most interesting to us when they come back.
And that's the camera they'll be using.
It's the same, basic Nikon that we have on the International Space Station. It's very well proven in the space environment. We've got a zoom lens on so they can actually, focus on big and small things. When they take pictures, they'll want to stabilize themselves, and a lot of times because you're floating in space, you kind of put your hand on the window, and then use that to stabilize the camera when you're taking pictures. And so the cameras are really good and have fast shutter speeds and really high ISO for the pictures, and so we really don't have a problem with camera jitter or floating around and messing up the pictures and blurring them because of the quality of our cameras.
What's the shot you're hoping for?
The shot that I hope that we all get to see is when they come out of the 45 minutes of blackout and they're able to send down a first shot. It's Earthrise, but it's not Bill Anders' Apollo 8 Earthrise. It's the Artemis generation's Earthrise. Think about one of our crew members.
One of those images that lasts, this becomes timeless.
That I hope inspires this generation of people to great things beyond Earth.
A huge moment. Back to you.
A huge moment indeed. A huge moment for all of us. Right.
It's already inspiring people.
Yeah,
already
it definitely is.
Well, the Artemis II mission is scheduled to make a historic loop around the moon today. New video shows one of the astronauts floating inside the Orion spacecraft and crew members watching the moon get closer. In just a few hours, the crew is due to make its closest approach to the moon, more than 250,000 miles from Earth. Mark Strassman is at the Johnson Space Center. And Mark, good morning. You have had the coolest assignment of all time.
Hey, Nora, good morning. And you're absolutely right. This is a very, very cool assignment. This is a big day and an historic day for NASA. I want to give you a sense of something. This is a model of the moon. It's about the size of a basketball. If I turn around and hold the moon at arm's length, this is about what the moon size will look like to the astronauts at the closest point of their lunar flyby.
The four of us have looked at this moon our entire lives, and the way we are responding to what we are seeing out the window, it's amazing.
For Artemis II, this moonshot has become a thrill ride. The moon keeps getting bigger, and a waxing moon means a waning planet Earth behind them.
That's you and me and everyone else.
It was a half Earth, then it was a full Earth, and then it was a no Earth.
Now this was a long-distance conversation. The crew then 180,000 miles from Earth, telling us about their ever-changing perspective.
We've all watched a waxing moon from Earth. What's it like to watch the moon grow from space?
We were catching glimpses of the far side, the side that you can never see from Earth. It just looked different out the window, and that is wild. It just really put our place in the universe in perspective.
Tonight, their Orion capsule will curl around the moon's far side. The crew will come within 4,000 miles of the surface. The moon's illumination will be roughly 20%, and the crew will spend 3 hours taking photos of the lunar landscape.
You get the clay.
We watch them practice their photography before launching, sometimes using poster boards of the moon as a target, other times an inflatable moon hanging from the ceiling.
They're going to use a camera that looks just like this with a pretty big lens.
Paul Reichert is the mission's photography instructor.
And they're going to take a lot of pictures of the moon, probably over 10,000 in the 3 hours that they're going around it.
10,000?
10,000. You want to start at the side that the moon is disappearing first, because if you don't get that side, you're going to miss it, because you're going to travel past it.
The crew will capture areas of the moon never glimpsed before by human eyes.
You'll be on one side of the moon, everyone else on Earth will be on the other. What do you hope the rest of us are thinking about?
For me, it leads back to gratitude. Gratitude that out of this huge universe, we get to live together on Earth, planet Earth.
Early this morning, the capsule's trajectory pulled within the moon's sphere of influence. For the first time, the pull of the moon is stronger than the pull of Earth. Then again, the pull of the moon is what this mission is all about, and why millions of people are expected to follow the lunar flyby.
That's a great milestone for us.
The world will be enjoying the view at that point, won't they?
We're all going to be enjoying the view. And I hope the rest of the people of this country and of the world get to share in that experience.
When they get to the moon's far side this afternoon, the crew will set a new long-distance record from Earth. And while they're back there, there's no line of sight with Earth, so no communication for a time, radio silence for 40 minutes. Nate?
All right, Mark, thank you so much. This is fascinating and exciting.
I know.
Isn't it thrilling for all of us?
That just gave me the chills.
I'm so thrilled by this. As a child, astronauts were my heroes, like all of us. Neil Armstrong, I mean, those guys that did it, went to the moon. And now we're this close to getting back there at some point in the future.
Someone asked me, like, why does this matter? In addition to what I think is obvious, there are people like Jeff Bezos and others that are talking about in the future we will move all heavy manufacturing and stuff to the moon.
How about we move to the moon? It feels a little safer there than.
I like it here better. It's a little greener. It's a little greener and bluer on Earth.
It's tough sometimes. Glad.
Not that bad.
I love you.
Let's begin with the Artemis II mission. It's now heading back to Earth after an historic loop around the moon. Look at this picture. Crew sent back these incredible images yesterday. The astronauts traveled farther into space than any other human. That's what they saw on their cameras. Wow. We also saw the crew members looking out the window back toward Earth before the lunar flyby. Later, they described what it was like to be there. Mark Strassman is at the Johnson Space Center. Mark, good morning to you. It was so exciting. They painted such a visual picture. It was really, really fascinating to watch. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Gail. And we should see some new and extraordinary pictures from space later today. This was an instance where NASA downplayed any suspense in the moment, but I think the rest of us felt it at least a little bit. The capsule on the far side of the moon about to lose line of sight with Earth, and that would mean 40 minutes of radio silence.
Houston copies. We'll see you on the other side.
This extraordinary view is Earthsat, our planet dropping below the lunar horizon.
It's a privilege to witness you carrying the fire past our side of the streets. Thank you. Godspeed.
All communication was also about to drop. Pilot Victor Glover.
And all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you.
For 40 minutes, nothing. The crew on the moon's far side could talk only to each other. Then came Earthrise, the planet reappearing above the lunar horizon. Mission Control could hear their astronauts again.
And it is so great to hear from Earth again.
And tell Earth what that experience was like, especially when the questions came during a congratulatory call from President Trump.
What was your feeling when you had no communication? A little bit different, perhaps?
I said a little prayer, but then I had to keep rolling. I was actually recording scientific observations of the far side of the moon. We were busy up here working really hard, and I must say, it was actually quite nice.
Earlier, the crew proposed naming 2 lunar craters, one poignantly for Commander Reed Wiseman's late wife, Carol. She died of cancer in 2020.
And it's a bright spot on the moon. And we would like to call it Carol. And you spell that C-A-R-R-O-L-L.
Mission control was hushed. The crew hugged. It was a day in space that ran a range of emotions and otherworldly experiences.
The surprise of the day, we just came out of an eclipse, and the entire dark moon, about that big, right out the window that we were watching. We could see the corona of the sun, and then we could see the planet train line up, and all of us commented how excited we are to watch this nation and this planet become a 2-planet species.
The entire flyby of the backside took about 7 hours or so. Today, the crew is in for some science, some manual flying, and some deserved downtime. And Nate, what a day those astronauts had yesterday.
Yeah, what a day for the astronauts, but also for all of us here in America.
Yes,
right?
I mean, it was captivating. I love the new phrase, guys, moon joy.
Yeah.
Listen, they said it was something about the moon joy. I feel that.
Yeah.
I got teary-eyed.
Yes.
I got emotional.
Because we know what it takes. Well, we sort of know what it takes for them to do that. No, what it takes.
Not just the astronauts, but everybody at NASA, right? So much work, so many long days, short nights. So we are all celebrating.
Yes.
And saluting.
Well done.
Well, now to those stunning images from space. These are just a few of the high-resolution photos taken by the crew of Artemis II as they looped around the far side of the moon. Now the crew is coming home. Mark Strassman is at Johnson Space Center in Houston, home of Mission Control. Mark, good morning.
Good morning to you, Nora. Right from liftoff, this mission has had a series of thrills, and now people are especially wowed by these spectacular pictures the crew has sent home.
For celestial drama, these deep space images pack undeniable power, stirring, humbling, spiritual. And NASA says bursting with new science.
There was a healthy scientific debate this morning about some of those images taken during the eclipse period and what we can see of the solar corona and what we can see of zodiacal light. So the conversations and the science lessons learned are just beginning.
Integrity, this is the International Space Station.
Also just beginning, spaceship to moonship communication. The International Space Station contacted Integrity, the Artemis II capsule.
We just appreciate you, and it's fun to be up in space with you at the same time.
The Artemis foursome choked up at one point. Commander Reed Wiseman's wife, Carol, a mother of 2, died of cancer in 2020. Astronaut Jeremy Henson proposed honoring her memory by naming a lunar crater.
There wasn't a dry eye in Mission Control when the naming of the 2 craters was announced by Jeremy.
Reed Wiseman talked to us before launching for the moon.
What would your wife think about your commanding this mission today?
When she really started getting sick, I wanted to move us back towards where her family was from. And she's like, no, this is where you work. This is the job you love, and we are going to stay right here. To me, that was marching orders.
This is the Carol Crater. It shines a little brighter now.
As we wait now for the crew to come home on Friday evening, splashdown outside San Diego, they're not the only ones now making headlines. Case in point, this jar of Nutella seen floating through microgravity has gone viral. The jar of chocolate hazelnut spread has been called the best Nutella commercial ever by one user on social media. The brand responded on X saying, honored to have traveled farther than any spread in history. Nate, from here to the moon, it's all about product placement.
Yeah. You're right about that. No need for marketing when you have that floating by the screen, that's for sure. Mark, thank you so much.
NASA's Artemis II mission returns to Earth tomorrow. Can't wait. But the 4 crew members would rather talk about the moon. They told some amazing stories overnight about their journey and what they have taken away from this experience. Mark Strassman is at the Johnson Space Center. Mark, good morning. It's just so much fun watching them have fun up there in space.
It's really been a remarkable ride for them and for us, Gail. Good morning to you. The crew was 180,000 miles from Earth when they checked in to tell us what they've been thinking and feeling. And they admitted they're still processing everything.
There were holes that, craters that appeared to just be endless, bottomless pits.
If Victor Glover sounds excited talking about this space odyssey, he is. They all are. Take this moment, seeing a solar eclipse from space.
It is quite an impressive sight.
It just blew us all away. I mean, you heard the reaction real time, and it was one of the greatest gifts of that part of the mission.
They talked about their trip's most moving moment. Astronaut Jeremy Hansen proposed naming a crater for Commander Reed Wiseman's late wife, Carol. Wiseman said his crewmates had the idea.
And I said, absolutely, I would love that. I think that's just the best. And I said, but I can't give the speech. And Jeremy, the kind of guy he is, he said he would do it. Just for me personally, that was kind of the pinnacle moment of the mission for me.
They also remembered their 40 minutes of solitude in deep space, what it was like to lose all radio contact with Earth on the moon's far side.
Wow, I'm actually getting chills right now just thinking about, my palms are sweating, but it is amazing to watch your home planet disappear behind the moon.
They've taken so many remarkable images, including selfies from their bucket list trip. Here you see Wiseman and Christina Cook in the capsule's windows, but they're also coming home with perspective.
Our purpose on the planet as humans is to find the joy in lifting each other up by creating solutions together instead of destroying. And when you see it from out here, it doesn't change it. It just absolutely reaffirms that.
So they're going to return to Earth tomorrow evening. The splashdown will happen off the coast of San Diego. The Navy recovery ship, the USS Murtha, is already in the location, on its way with the Navy divers that will recover the crew. And then they will come back and talk to not just NASA, but to their families. And, Nate, the stories they're going to tell.
Right about that, Mark. Thank you.
Tonight is the night. We cannot wait that the crew splashes down in the Pacific after their incredible history-making journey. But they are not home yet. Hours to come. One of the most dangerous parts of the mission, though, is still ahead of them. Mark Strassman is at the Johnson Space Center, home of Mission Control. Mark, good morning to you. It's countdown to the splashdown. I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, it's going to be something to watch, Gail. Good morning. Keep in mind when you watch the capsule re-enter Earth's atmosphere that this moment is always risky. The capsule has to brake from more than 20,000 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour. And the spotlight will be on the capsule's heat shield.
Artemis II's translunar thrill ride will come to a splashy finale. Integrity, this crew's Orion capsule, will hit Earth's atmosphere and drop 76 miles into the Pacific. Gravity's reminder to the crew they're home.
I'm going to tell you, it's 13 minutes of things that have to go right.
Especially the capsule's heat shield. Integrity will streak into Earth's upper atmosphere at 24,000 miles per hour. It will lose all radio communication for 6 minutes. Temperatures could hit 5,000 degrees. That's half as hot as the sun's surface. Without a functioning heat shield, no crew could survive.
When you saw the cracks of the chunks, what was going through your mind?
We've got to understand what happened, and we've got to make tough decisions about how to address it.
Victor Glover's talking about the unpiloted Artemis I mission in 2022. This is video looking outside its blistering re-entry. Pieces of the heat shield keep flying off. Engineers later found holes and cracks pocking the shield's outer char layer. A crew would have survived, but it was worrisome.
NASA decided to keep the same heat shield, but modify the trajectory of the capsule's return. They're confident it's the right fix, but it's a lingering concern.
The rate of heat going to the heat shield is going to be different.
Flight Director Rick Henfling will be in the hot seat tonight. He's overseeing Integrity's return.
At what point are you able to exhale?
Once the side hatch is open and we see 4 astronauts sitting on the raft.
Southwest of San Diego, a Navy recovery team's already pre-positioned. NASA's Liliana Villarreal is in charge, responsible for 4 lives and a $1 billion capsule.
We're very good at recovering the capsule, but this is the first time we're recovering the crew, and so we need to make sure that we do this well.
Everyone we talked to at NASA, engineers, flight directors, and the crew all said the same thing. They had their concerns about the heat shield, but now they're confident. Gail?
Oh, that's what we like to hear. Mark, thank you so much.
The Artemis II crew returned to Earth last night. Their space capsule coming down in the Pacific Ocean, miles and miles off the coast of San Diego. They were flown by helicopter to the deck of a Navy ship. Their mission accomplished.
I raced home to watch this with my daughter. This is history, baby. The 4 astronauts, Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, and specialist Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen, blasted off 10 days ago. We were all watching for their first trip to the moon, humanity's first trip in more than 50 years. They traveled farther from Earth than any other humans, looping around the far side of the moon, and along the way, they have shared with us stunning images of the lunar surface, a solar eclipse, and our very own home planet as we have never seen it before.
The crew returned to San Diego last night, and this morning they will fly to Houston, where they'll be reunited with their families and speak about the mission after their history-making voyage. Mark Strassman is in Houston for us. Mark, I'm going to be sad when I don't get to talk to you every day. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Kelly and Lindsay. Wow, what a splashdown, right? I mean, I think we all were just awestruck by what we saw. Later today, the astronauts will land here at Ellington Air Force Base in Houston. It's the closest airport to Johnson Space Center. And waiting for them will be their families, families who must have been cheering the loudest when the capsule splashed down.
Houston Integrity splashdown, sending post-landing command now.
A new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Integrity's astronauts back on Earth.
It was just a drop in the ocean that had everyone exhaling from NASA to space fans worldwide. The capsule Integrity bobbed in the water. Artemis II was home. Inside Mission Control, NASA workers hugged and applauded. They had pulled off Earth's first piloted moon mission in more than a half-century. In front of the capsule's open hatch, teams of Navy divers parked an inflatable raft nicknamed the Front Porch.
And the initial, you can hear it.
Christina Cook emerged first. Then one by one, each of her 3 crewmates popped out.
All 4 crew members now out of Integrity.
And then suddenly they were back in flight, hoisted to a waiting helicopter, taking them to a recovery ship. NASA needed the crew back safely before calling this mission a success. It's ready now.
So, y'all, we did it. We sent 4 amazing people to the moon and safely returned them to Earth for the first time in more than 50 years. To the generation that now knows what we're capable of, welcome to our moonshot.
By the time the capsule returned to Earth, it was streaking more than 24,000 miles per hour. Exterior temperatures were predicted to reach as high as 5,000 degrees. And there was 6 minutes of radio silence flying through highly charged plasma. But on the other side of all that, NASA found itself with a crew safely back on Earth and the dawn of a new era in lunar travel.
This is our first mission to the moon, of many more to come. And we can't wait.
Think about it. 4 days ago, this crew was 250,000 miles from Earth, and tonight they'll sleep in their own beds here in Houston. But first, Lindsay, they're going to have to answer 1 million questions from their own families.
And us. Mark, thank you so much. Artemis II is just the beginning. So for a look at what lies ahead, we're joined by CBS News space contributor Bill Harwood. He is at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. Bill, good morning to you. I have fallen in love with each and every one of these astronauts, as I think the rest of America has too. So what is next?
You know, it's interesting. Originally, the next flight would have been a moon landing around 2028, but the new administrator, Jared Isaacman, thought that was unrealistic. He's inserted an extra flight next year when another Space Launch System rocket and an Orion capsule will take off to low Earth orbit and practice docking and rendezvousing with moon landers that are currently being built by SpaceX and Blue Origin. If those flights go well, NASA hopes to land at least 1 and maybe 2 missions in 2028, sending astronauts to the south polar region of the moon. And eventually, the administrator says the agency wants to get up to 2 flights per year to send astronauts to the surface of the moon. As part of that, the agency is planning to build a moon base near the lunar South Pole where astronauts could live for, months at a time and establish sort of a permanent presence on the moon. That's the long-range plan. It's going to take a lot of money and effort to do that, but that's what NASA's hoping for.
I was so excited telling my 4-year-old last night, baby, in your lifetime, we're going to live on the moon. We might even go to Mars. The future is bright. But, we might have been worried about the heat shield or the launch. This is risky business. I know you were never worried. You never had a doubt. What made this such a success?
Well, I think it's not right to say I didn't have a doubt. I mean, anytime you're hitting the atmosphere at nearly 25,000 miles an hour, there's a huge amount of risk involved. But I think the success of this flight, you really have to hand it to the civil servants at NASA who've been working for years on this mission, all the contractors that built the rockets, the capsule, did all the flight planning and flight control at the Johnson Space Center. I mean, really, it was everybody. It was thousands of people working for years to make this mission happen. And I think it's a huge relief to those people that it went as smoothly as it did. There is a lot of risk involved in flights like this. They haven't done it in 50 years. And as I like to say, if you're younger than 53 years old, you weren't alive when Apollo was happening, which means a lot of those flight controllers and the engineers who built the rocket, to them, going to the moon was in a history book. Now it's real, and that's the result of their labor over years and public support to make it happen.
I think that's such a good point, Bill, because, I wasn't around, and that's why I've been so fascinated by this. But to your point, neither were a lot of the people that were part of this mission. I think that's a really important point to underline. But, we did it, 50 years ago or over 50 years ago. Why is it so important to go back to the moon, and what can we ultimately do? Obviously beyond the moon, manufacturing in space. What do you think is next there?
All of that. When they first went to the moon in Apollo, it was to plant the flag and put boots on the moon and beat the Soviet Union. It was a space race. This time around, they want to go to stay because they believe there are resources on the moon that can be extracted, and the moon could then serve as a jumping off point for future missions to Mars and out into deep space. So they do want to develop that commercial infrastructure around Earth and low Earth orbit while NASA presses ahead with the exploration of the solar system. So all of that together is a healthy long-range plan. Kelly?
All right. CBS News space contributor Bill Harwood, I have loved talking to you throughout this mission. Thanks for getting up with us this morning.